It's time to start a new one, guys. My friend's realm ran out, so I think he just canceled the payments. He doesn't really play that much. When he does get on, we play Apex or Fortnite, maybe Siege if we're really feeling weird. I guess none of my friends really play Minecraft enough to really commit to a realm, which is fine. It's their money; they get to make their choice. I don't have a job. I can't tell them how to spend their time or money. Hopefully that'll change soon, though. I really have been trying to find a job. It's just hasn't really been easy. Which I know it's a far too reoccurring topic in my videos that I just talk about the job market, but it's we don't stop talking about problems just because you're tired of hearing about them, And when nothing's changing, all you can do is complain until somebody finally does something. Which I don't think anything's actually probably going to happen. I forget that punching does like no damage. Jesus. So yeah, New World. I got a thing on. I am on Bedrock. Holy English. I am on Bedrock, which I know a lot of people don't fuck with Bedrock, but it's all I've been playing for a long time. I do have Java, but I'm just more familiar with Bedrock, so that's what we're playing on. Maybe one day I'll switch to Java. I have played it, and the difference isn't too incredible. I don't know, there's something at Bedrock that just does, it works for me, What the? Are there just bushes now? Are these just small trees? What the? Well, let me readjust my mic. I guess today's topic is, I love being able to speak my mind without losing train of thought. Don't you? Today's topic is going to be the feeling of loneliness as a whole thing, not just like as an experience, like the entire thing. Because I feel like there's a lot that people leave on the table when they talk about it, because they have a fear of sounding corny or cliche. But I'm not really worried about that. Are pandas aggressive? They're not. Good. Polar bear attacked me in my last video. It's kind of weird, the fact that I can feel so alone sometimes when I have friends who care about me. So it really throws me for a loop when I start feeling that way, and I'm just like, why do I feel like this? When in paper, like in theory on paper, I shouldn't. And it doesn't really click with me like why it happens. I give myself some like weird excuse that it's not the same or whatever, but end of the day, I shouldn't be like feeling these things when I do have people who support me. I don't know, maybe it's like a delusion of some kind that I'm just convincing myself that I am. Maybe it's just because I don't get the attention that I think I need or that I want, which when you use the word attention, people immediately give it a negative connotation because they think you're searching for attention or demanding it or whatever. That's not really how I feel, I'm not the loudest one in the room. I'm not doing any of that, I don't demand attention from people, especially friends. I feel like if they want to give me attention, that's their choice. I shouldn't have to ask them for it. So I guess my problem that kind of relates to the last video where I talked about reaching out, I guess. Because I've seen a lot of people where it's like nobody will call them, or nobody will text them. People call me, people text me. Not all the time, I'll go days, weeks. I think the longest I've been is I think I went 3 months without getting a single text one time. Without texting first. That's kind of what I mean. If I have to text first, I'm putting in all the effort. And at least from my perspective. That's a thing that's gotten under my skin a lot in my life and has ruined relationships for me. Is if I'm friends with you and I text you every day and then I stop texting you and the entire friendship dies because you don't have the time in your day, or you won't make the time in your day to talk to me, it fucks with me. Even though it's a very selfish thought because, you know, people are busy. But I've always looked at it like I always try to make time for people. Like, why won't they make time for me? I guess is how I would put it. I've lost some people in my life because of that, where I just won't continue to pretty much put in all this effort to stay in touch with them when they seem to have no care in the world if I text them or not, or call them or not. I've had it to where people just won't call me and won't answer calls when I call them. Like, it's a strictly texting friendship. Unless we're in person, and then they'll talk to me. Which at that point, it's just convenience for them. You know, they need something to laugh at, something to talk to, something to keep them from being bored. So, golden opportunity, I'm right there. And they know that I want to talk to them because I do it all the time, either through text or call or whatever. So, it's a win for them. But it's... when you do that to people and you don't really care, it's kind of fucked up. Just let them know that you don't want to talk to them. I would, 1 million times out of a million times, rather someone tell me they don't want to talk to me than let me believe that we're friends and that you value my time. So I don't have to spend so much time thinking about it and worrying about it or whatever, you know? Am I retarded? Never in my life have I done that before, I promise. I don't know, it's just a very weird way to, that is the feeling of loneliness. Because I feel you're most alone, not when you have nobody, it's when you're surrounded by people and nobody, you feel like nobody really knows you or nobody really wants to be around you. Because, I mean, I remember one of the moments I realized how lonely I felt. This was when I was working. And I think I have talked about this in a video before. This is when I was working 12-hour shifts in a factory. And it was hot, you know, the AC was busted. And we had snow cones. And I'm sitting in the break room, taking like a 5-minute break, eating a snow cone, listening to Bubblegum by Clairo or whatever her name is, and I was just sitting there like staring into a wall, talking to nobody with my earbud in that I wasn't even allowed to have in at this job. And I was just thinking, I was like, I haven't said a word to anyone all day today. I haven't texted anyone, I haven't called anyone. I've been at work all day, and it was the same thing yesterday. And it fucked with me so bad that, like, that day when I got home at 7 at night, feeling tired as could be, instead of going to bed like I'd usually do after work, I texted everybody. I was like, just somebody hang out with me, somebody talk to me. And I didn't... then just calling back to my last video again, I downplayed it immensely. You know, I just contacted him like, yo, you want to do something tonight? And I didn't really talk about it, but I really needed to talk to somebody. And even when I was there with them, I didn't really feel as though I was being heard, because no matter what it is, I feel like nobody cares about what I'm talking about ever. I always get like written off, or they start spouting about something when to talk about their day, which is completely fine to want to talk about your day. But if I just got done telling you something like about something that affected me, or I'm talking about something that I think is important, and you immediately change the subject, I just feel as though you don't value my time or my words. Which is why I say you can feel the most alone when you're surrounded by people, but you don't feel heard. And that has been story of my life, you know. In high school, I was really like a class clown, you know. I was more focused on joking around and having fun than I was my schoolwork, even though I really was a smart kid. So I threw away the entire prospect of being academic for the sake of trying to make people happy, make people laugh, like just serving people, which I don't think I'll ever stop doing, even though it's probably not in my best interest to keep being a people pleaser. But at least I know what I am, you know. I know that I very much, to a fault, care about a lot of other people. Friends, doesn't matter, like... And it's weird for a lot of people when I talk to them about this kind of thing, because a lot of people only do that kind of thing for their family, and I'm really the other way. Me and my family don't talk or agree on like anything. And if we do, it's like minuscule or, you know, common sense stuff like, of course you agree with me on that. If you didn't, that'd be kind of crazy. So I've always like made sure that everybody around me was having fun. I never really focused on me. And it kind of sucks looking back at it now, because it's always been a thing where I'll get like I'll be out with friends or people that I know or friends of friends with my friends there and stuff. And it'll always be, oh my God, you're so funny. Why don't you come around more? And I just got to tell them how it is. Like, I don't get invited. Nobody texts me. Nobody calls me. I'm only here because my friend's here, and he brought me here. Because he said it'd be cool. I heard that creeper too. My dumb eye. But yeah, it's like, I don't get invited. And they'll look at me, they're like, why? I'm like, I don't know. Just nobody calls me. And they get like really surprised, because it's like, I'm the life of the event. Like, people love talking to me. That's not like tooting my own horn anyway. That's like things that people have said. It's like they love talking to me because when they're talking to me, they will, since I'm pretty much a stranger, like they know me by name alone. Not through like knowing things about me. They could talk about anything, and they know pretty much they're not going to get judged, because I don't really judge people like that. Like, everybody judges people, but, you know, I don't go out of my way to judge people, I guess would be the way to put it. Especially when they're talking about something that they really need to get off their chest. And I'll make them laugh and all this other such stuff. And they'll say stuff like that, like, why don't you come around more, blah, 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 and then forget to invite me again, you know? Well, I say forget, but they could be choosing not to. It could be any number of things. But it's stuff like that, like those compliments. I would rather you say nothing to me than say, oh my God, you're so funny. Because, like, I know. I'm trying. You know, I'm trying really hard to be funny. And, you know, maybe it's like, just any other compliment. You know, I should be, like, in theory, I should just be grateful that I'm getting a compliment, period. But it's just, that's the thing I've heard most. Out of all the compliments I ever get, that is the compliment, you know? It's, oh my God, you're so funny. Or I like this guy. That's the common thing, but they don't, it's enough for them to mention it in the moment, but not enough for them to contact me and want to come hang out or something, you know? Like, I'm likable enough to be around, but not likable enough to invite. It's like when I'm there, cool. When I'm not there, cool. That's how I am to people. I'm expendable. I'm just another guy in the background. As I was saying a minute ago, though, it's like it has cost me friendships, really, that I did value, because I decided, I can't put up with this being the only one trying. And that happened when I was 17. There was this girl, I really liked her, and we were like really close. At least from my perspective, we were really close. We had a lot of chemistry. Like, it was crazy. We could read each other's minds. We were so like in tune with each other. And we were in a situation where it was long distance, and we were friends, nothing was official. So long distance, we were friends, it wasn't official. We seen each other like once a week, because I only seen her when I went to college. Like, I did a thing whenever I was in high school when I was 17, where every Monday I would go to a college campus after school, and I wouldn't get home till like 10, and there'd be other schools that also participated in this thing, right? And I met her there, and then they had a summer program for the same stuff where we could go. We got the closest there, because we only did the one program. You could do it every summer if you wanted to. We chose not to. And we got really close, and like so close to the point where, for this college thing, if you did good enough for your grades during the summer part, and it was like early in the summer, later that same summer, we got to go on a trip to like an amusement park place. We sat next to each other on the entire bus ride. Keep in mind, I live in Arkansas. We drove on a bus all the way from Arkansas to like Nashville, Tennessee, dude. I think we went to Dollywood, if I remember correct. And the whole time we're sitting there, everyone else on this bus is silent. Everybody. I mean, we were the only people from the second we got on the bus and sat next to each other. And the only reason we sat next to each other was like by coincidence. Because at this point, we were like, we knew each other, but we weren't like as close as we would be later on. We were the last two people on the bus. We sat right next to each other. Just, by coincidence that we ended up in the same seats. And everyone else is dog tired. We're leaving super early in the morning. Everybody's like groggy and grumpy and upset, because they don't really care for this like long ass bus ride we're gonna be on. Me and her, we start talking immediately, and I'm looking around. We're getting dirty looks because we're laughing loudly, we're talking loudly, we're acting a fool, and just enjoying our time together. And it really, I guess in the moment I didn't realize how much I was really enjoying it, but after it was over, I wanted to feel something like that again, and I haven't since. And I'm 19 now. So, literally the entire ride, everyone else didn't make a sound except for like a couple words here and there. Me and her, we watched Naruto together because I was really big into it, and I'd recommended it to her. So she was like, fuck it, let's watch it. We synchronized our phones and watched it together with our earbuds in. We watched Princess Bride together on that bus. We listened to Travis Scott, Utopia, the day it dropped on that bus together, and we just got super close and hung out the entire time. And this was like a whole week straight of us hanging out outside of like a classroom, just on this road trip. And it was after we ended up getting home, we would text all the time, and it wasn't until it was brought to my attention by a friend that I'm always texting her first. I was like, that's a good point. Let me see what happens if I don't text. Spoiler alert, I didn't get any text. So that hurt my feelings. I'm not afraid to admit it. So I stopped texting and didn't really get back into it. It ruined the entire chemistry, which, to be fair, maybe she is busy. But how often is someone's life at that age that busy to the point where they can't make time to just text somebody? I'm fairly sure that she had time. She just didn't want to talk to me. I didn't cross her mind. Which really sucked because I really liked this girl. But I was just reading in too deep. I was like a year or two older than her. I was 2 years older than her, which, it sounds weird, but it didn't. How do I sound? Like, how do I say this? I sounded like a weirdo. It wasn't really like that. It's like I knew I liked this girl, but there was not like a sexual thing, And she was pretty, of course, but that's not the point. We liked a lot of the same stuff. We bonded on so much. And it was just amazing. Because prior to that week we spent together on that trip, she was just somebody I knew by, like, name alone. Didn't talk to her. The only reason I had her number is because we were in the same, like, text group chat with these other people. Because prior to that, I was talking to a different girl. We had a falling out, like, right before me and this other girl would end up becoming good friends. Unfortunately, because I was also close with her, but that's another story for another time. And it had never crossed my mind to think of her that way or anything until, the trip wrapped up and everything, and I was like, this girl's fucking awesome. Because I think it's like 2 years is like the max that you should go down. I don't care if you're fucking 30 or whatever. Like, if you're any age, 2 years is your cutoff in my mind. That's what I think. Because in what world is it normal in the slightest for a 70-year-old to be with an 18-year-old because technically it's legal? I think that's just fucking dog shit. It's a technicality and it's fucking weird. You might disagree. But it's just, if you're even 3 years apart, you've lived entirely different lives. And that's not even just like, I know someone's gonna be like, oh, it's obvious, everyone lives a different life. But like, experiences down to a T, you've experienced a different life. Like, I have a little brother I'm 3 years older than, and we have not experienced half the same shit. Like, I got to experience Prime Fortnite. He was still legit when Prime Fortnite happened. Because I was still incredibly young when that shit happened. Like, there's a lot that he just doesn't relate to me on because I'm 3 years older. And I feel like that applies to relationships too. Like, 2 years is the cutoff. It just sounds... It's always going to sound weird when there's any age gap for people under 18. But I can see your concern if, you were thinking it was odd, But yeah, that ruined that whole thing. And that was one of those relationships where even though we were just friends and I just had a big crush on her and all that, right? Talking to her genuinely, like, made my days better. So whenever I decided to let it go, it was genuinely like losing something to me. To be grieving the loss of someone who's not even gone, just not in my life anymore, it's an experience, certainly. And not one that I would wish upon anyone. Um, but that just fed into my feeling alone. I remember coming home after spending the time with her and during the trip, and just sitting in silence for like an hour, just tweaking in my own head, like, because now that I'm back home and we don't live close, I know I wasn't going to see her until the school year started back up. And, you know, it's like still the summer. And it always feels as though for me, I'm always into the people that aren't into me. Like, I've had women ask me out, like, and I'm just like, no. And you would think as someone who complains about like loneliness and stuff, like that would be my golden ticket. But I feel like when you do stuff like that, you compromise yourself and that person because you really don't feel the same way. And lying about it doesn't make it change, you know? You're still not feeling the same emotion. You're not seeing this through the same lens. You're kind of just using them so you don't have to feel alone anymore, and that's messed up. But 2, maybe 3 different times I've had that happen to me where women have very abruptly like asked me out, and I'm just like, no. Like one that I'm still in contact with that I know likes me, I'm just like, I tell her, I'm like, you need to do better for yourself because I'm not gonna fall for you. I don't know what it is, but like ever since I met this person, she always gave like, and this is gonna sound cliche, but like family vibes, like big sister. Even though I'm older than her by like a year. You know? She's always given those vibes, so I never thought of her in any other kind of light. But she's admitted it multiple times that she feels that way about me, and I don't feel the same. And it almost makes me feel worse knowing that there's people out there who want to be around me, but I distance myself because I know I don't feel the same way. Like, I support them still, and I don't make fun of them for the way they feel or anything like that. I'm just not willing to, like I said earlier, compromise myself or them by lying and saying I do, just so neither of us have to be lonely, you know? You know, I have morals. I'm not so alone that it's altering my judgment on anything, you know? Because I do hang out with my friends on a pretty regular basis, but hanging out with your friends and spending meaningful time with people are completely different things. And I feel like a lot of people don't get that when you say you're alone, but you have friends that you hang out with. Yeah, I hang out with them, but if I ask them the slightest thing about me, they're not going to know the answer. And I don't mean like the girlish way of, oh, you don't know my birthday, we can't be friends. Birthdays are the most surface level dog shit to know about somebody, you know? You don't need to know someone's birthday to be friends with them. But it's like most of the time, they don't know what's going on. Like, I can tell with my friends if they're having a bad day immediately. But I haven't had a friend like legitimately be worried about me. I don't think ever. Like they've said it as a joke before, and it was very obviously a joke, but like never like seriously. And I understand that it's like a coping mechanism for people. It's like if they're so scared to talk about the serious thing because they're worried they're going to get an answer they don't want, that they'll make it a joke so they have that safety net of saying, oh, I was joking. You didn't have to be serious, you know? And it's really weird. But a lot of my loneliness, I will say, it stems from the fact that I've been single for so long, because there's just things that you don't talk to friends about, or family for that matter. That is like a thing you tell like the person you trust most. And I'm telling you right now, if the person you trust most isn't your significant other, you have issues. As I was saying, it definitely roots from me being single for so long, or being undesirable as a potential boyfriend for so many people. Because when I was younger, I didn't look the best. I was relatively out of shape for a while because of, inactivity from some things. I don't know if I'll talk about it. Yeah, I'll talk about it. When I was 7, I got diagnosed with a thing that pretty much meant that I couldn't play sports anymore for a long time. That didn't end until I was 11, when I started to heal from it. And because prior to that, I was a healthy kid. I was energetic, running around. Like I wanted to play sports, and during like PE and stuff, I would be out there running around. I'd play outside and shit. But after that happened, my leg was in so much pain from this thing that was happening, which it was pretty much my my hip bone was like it lost blood supply or something, and it was rough instead of smooth, and it like chronic pain and arthritis and shit at like 8 years old. So just brilliant, right? Just great. So I got nerfed, and then that happened. I got overweight. I didn't really start getting taller until I was already in high school. So I went through all of middle school being like the shortest kid. Which, luckily for me, when I came back to for high school, I was taller than a lot of people that I wasn't taller than. I'm not the tallest guy. I'm not even 6 foot. I don't even know if I'm 5'10". I don't measure, because I don't really care. So back then, I really get why people didn't want to be with me. Then I started getting back in shape, and this one was entirely my fault, but it didn't stop it from messing with my head, which honestly, it messes with my head even more when it is my fault, because now I'm a guilty person. I feel bad about a lot of stuff that I've done, and I'm a part of me feels happy that I do get guilty, because I'm holding myself accountable, and there's a lot of people that won't, so at least I know I'm not selfish. But there was a specific situation where there was a girl I liked at school, and we went, there was a dance coming up. This was like right when high school started, so I was like 8th grade. And there was a school dance coming up, and I remember like the night of or the night before, she texted me, because we had been texting a lot and we were getting pretty close. And she said, like, "Are you going to the dance?" And I was like, "Are you going to the dance?" And we both pretty much agreed, like, "I'll go if you go," kind of deal. Which, looking back on it now, it was like a pretty obvious sign, she'll only go if I'll go with her, kind of deal. It's like, that's very positive sign for me liking this girl. Like, but something I've noticed in my life, I miss signs and misread emotions so easily when it comes to women. Like my guy friends, I'll read them like a book. Like, I know exactly what's on their mind. But women are just so weird and confusing most of the time that I suck at it. Like, I do not get hints or anything. You just gotta say it to my face. And so we go together. At this point in time, I'm looking pretty good. Like, I didn't look terrible. I had some of my best clothes on. I waited for her to get there. I'm excited because I like this girl, right? She comes in there. She looks great. We had a great night. Until the end, which was a no bueno on my part. So the whole night I'm having fun. I'm talking to people I know. I'm talking to this girl mostly. I'm hanging out with her like 99% of this time I'm there. Because, yeah, I had some friends there too, but like, it was one of those things where I came here to hang out with her, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I kind of distanced myself from my other friends, and I just hung out with this girl. And like I was saying, all was well until like later in the night, because I'm in like full entertainer mode. I'm trying to joke around and do all this stuff. And for context, as a kid, I would make very insensitive jokes, because all of my friends and I would do it. That's not a good excuse, but you know, when you're around people gratifying the stuff you're doing, good or bad, you're gonna keep doing it. So, she says, I'm thinking about asking a teacher if they'll drive me home, because I don't want to get like kidnapped or something. You know, looking back on it, I should have just asked if she wanted me to walk her home, because she lived close. You know, I lived in another town, but you know, it's no biggie. My dad was gonna pick me up whenever I told him anyway, so I had time. It would have done. It would have literally done nothing, except for been the better choice if I decided to walk her home. And I think she wanted me to, and that's why she phrased it like that. She just didn't want to ask, because she was looking at me like eye contact the whole time, and this is like a shy, nervous girl who's very self-conscious. And instead of saying that, I was like, how do I turn this into a joke? So, boom, it clicks in my head. I'm thinking she's going to think it's funny, because usually she reacts well to these kind of jokes, because she's one of my friends. She makes these jokes too. But to hear what I said to her come from someone who you potentially like, or who you think likes you, it could be a completely different experience. So she said, like, I don't want to get kidnapped, you know, jokingly, you know, probably expecting me to offer to walk her home. And I respond with, who would kidnap your ugly ass, bro? Don't ever, ever say that to somebody, bro. Like, my dumb eye, immediately, she was upset. She started crying and ran to the bathroom. I'm feeling like a piece of shit. The people around me thought it was hilarious. I immediately felt like shit. And I was like, oh. So I text her. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. I was joking. You know. It just felt terrible. I didn't leave until she came out. And I didn't, like, wait for her by the bathroom or anything. But I waited in sight so she would walk out and see me. And I told her I was sorry and stuff. She left. She was pretty mad for a while. She's over it now. I still talk to her sometimes. But I think that, like, killed all of my chances. Which really sucked, because I thought she was great. You know, like a real person, like, wasn't afraid to, like, talk about flaws and stuff. Or be real about some shit. But at the same time, wasn't so stuck up that she wouldn't make jokes and take jokes and stuff like that. I just feel like that was the wrong moment. And I was the wrong person to say something like that, because, you know, I really did feel like I had a chance with that one, you know? And then I just threw it in the trash can by saying that, because I was thinking about it. I was like, how would I feel if I'm thinking I'm doing great on this with somebody I like, and they say something like that to me? You know, and I'm looking at it from the perspective of not myself, but like if I was a self-conscious, like, shy person, I feel like I'd probably be upset about that too. You know, luckily for me, I like jokes. You know, I like it when people are funny, even if it's at my disposal. As long as it's not, like, too personal. Like, if you say something that I've told you about that it's, like, a personal thing that, like, actually fucks with me, and you use it against me, fuck you. You know, you're a dickhead. I don't like it when people do that to people. You know, like, you gotta check with me before you say that kind of shit. But yeah, that's how I ruined that one. And like I said, she's over it now. I've talked to her about it. Honestly, she said she really overreacted, and I was like, well, the whole time I just thought I was a dickhead. So, it really was a dickheaded thing to do. And that would be, honestly, if it was a one-off thing, it really wouldn't be that bad. But another completely different time I did that to a girl where I would make jokes. This time it was a lot more tame though. This was like basic, just poking fun, and it wouldn't even like it was like a girl that I was like only me too. This girl would get compliments. I would mess with her and stuff, but like this is another girl I liked. So yeah, I primarily was being really nice, and everyone around us like could see that I was trying and shit, and would say she's overacting, but she took all that like way too personally, and that ruined that, you know, completely. Just there was no second chance, none of that. It was immediately bad, which really sucked, honestly, because like I said, this is another girl I liked for the same shit of me being a dickhead, you know. You know, maybe if I just knew how to not say shit that pisses people off, I wouldn't have this problem. So I wouldn't say I'm like super worried about saying the wrong thing to people that much, but it is a thought in my head when I'm talking to people. Is, you know, like, is this person a safe person to say things to, or are they gonna flip out on me? Because when that stuff continues to happen to you, you know, you start to worry about it. Let's do a funky, weird shape. And to bring this all back together, my lack of ability to keep a good relationship with a person going completely disappears when it comes to my friends that are guys and shit. Because from what I've noticed, dudes are just way more forgiving in every aspect of life. Like every aspect. The most supportive people I've ever met have been dudes. Which is weird, because I thought the nurturing role was supposed to be a woman thing. And then I'm out here with these great friends that I have, and it's the complete opposite. A lot of the women I meet are very hateful individuals, and, you know, I could just be around the wrong people. But, you know, when you're mistreated by a group of people for so long, you know, you start to put the pieces together. And there's no way it's a coincidence every single time. And I think they kind of get off a little easy because, you know, if a woman doesn't like something, it's just they don't like it and it's going to go that way. Doesn't matter how stupid it is. They just get catered to a lot. And, you know, to argue with them is to choose to lose, I guess. And I'm not really somebody who's going to compromise their morals or beliefs for other people. That doesn't mean I'm mean. I'll respect your opinion, but I'm not going to change stuff about me for you unless I believe that you're correct. Because feelings and facts are not the same. And there's situations for both. Where some are more important than others. Where one is more important than the other, I guess I would say, is a better way to put it. And so many people just want to only use one or the other. You have to use both. You can't only use your emotion. You can't only use facts. You know? Why am I doing this when I can just click that a bunch of times? Where was I going with this? Yeah, to connect it back, I guess my lack of luck in the dating market has been a big factor in the feeling alone. Because whenever my friends are like, oh, can't hang out today, I'm going out with a girlfriend, or, you know, me and my girlfriend did blank, you know, it's not just that I feel left out from them. I just know I'm missing a human connection that is irreplaceable. And it sucks. Because it's not something you can force. Because a forced relationship is no relationship at all. It's fake. You know, it's not real. It's all surface level, and that's no better than being just alone. I would actually rather be alone than be in a surface level relationship with someone at all. And it's just... Am I lagging or something? Like, holy shit. I'll break that later. Waking up every day knowing that it's going to be the same day I've lived a million times, where I wake up, do nothing, watch TV, wish somebody was here to talk to me or to connect to or hang out with, hang out with friends later in the day, maybe, you know, might go to the gym, might go hang out and do some other stuff, and then go to bed just as lonely as I was when I woke up. That's been my life cycle for quite a bit. You know, there's not very much new that goes on, which could just be because I live in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, where there's nobody, and the people you do know, you've known forever, and the people you don't know kinda suck. Like, I don't think I can name, like, normal people that I know. You know, we live so disconnected from stuff. We have to drive forever to get to any major city. Like, we're out of the way, I guess would be a way to put it. And I don't think it's jealousy seeing everybody else have something and not have it as well. I don't think that has anything to do with it. Because there's plenty of things that other people have that I don't have that I want, that don't make me feel jealousy or anything like that. It's just, when you feel connections like that, you know, like, how addicting it is immediately. Because even just from the situationships or having crushes on people and getting to know them and stuff like that, it is the most addicting shit that I've ever done. And I've drank, I've smoked, I've had weed, all kinds of shit, right? Nothing's as addicting as people are to me. I love people. I love hanging out with people. I love talking to people. Everything about people. Their flaws, their good qualities, any of that. I love it. And when you don't have that after experiencing it, it's like meth. I've never had meth, but the way I've heard it described is you'll never feel that dopamine rush again. It's like that. And for me, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, to have a genuine relationship, like a girlfriend would be great, but even when I meet like new friends, it's amazing. Some of the funnest shit ever, just like learning about things in their life, seeing how similar some things are and how some aren't. You know, it's great. It's just so like when you, like I was saying a second ago, when you don't have that and you're living life just being essentially just the NPC, you're just there, observing everyone around you have fun, try new things, go new places together, and like find love and all this shit. And you're just watching, being the odd one out. It is terrible, is the only way to put it. It feels like I'm watching a TV show where everyone gets to have fun and all this shit, and I'm just being ignored. You know, like I said, like a background character. My role is unimportant. That's what it feels like. I don't have any wool or nothing, and I'm out of wood. Dude, I suck at Minecraft. I guess we'll finish off by planting these flowers and putting down my crafting table, and then we'll call it for now. I don't know. Maybe I can talk about some more. Another bad part about it is I feel like I really can't talk to even people in my family. And it's not even just like I want to talk to people because this or that. Sometimes it's just nice to have people to talk to. You know? Why do I have to have a reason to talk to you? Why do I have to have a reason to want to be around you? Maybe I just want to be around you because I think you're cool. Or I think you're awesome, or I just want to be around you. Why do I have to have some sort of excuse? I wouldn't want you to have to make an excuse for me. I would want you to just say you want to hang out. Which is another thing. It's like, there's some times where I feel like when somebody calls me, it's like, dude, just say you want someone to hang out with. I will come hang out with you. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And it kind of makes me sad because I'm like, I don't want to like pry or anything. But I'll be talking to her and I'm just like, just say you want to hang out. And I'll hang out with you. I don't know. God, that guy's gonna kill me. Well, the rest of the video is a dirt POV. I don't know. I guess to elaborate more is like on the thing I said earlier, where there's some things you talk about with friends, some things you don't talk about with friends. There's things that I want to talk about and things that I want to experience that you can only have with a romantic partner, and I've never had that. Because I've been in love with people before, you know, but I've never felt that reciprocated. Not a single time. Outside of like loving a friend. I've got friends who love me. It's not the same thing. And I care about my friends and they care about me, but the caring you have for someone that you're in a relationship with is so much deeper, so much more in depth. I guess that means the same thing, but you know, it's like a different experience. I guess the difference being is like you can eat a normal sandwich if you make it home, or you can go to Subway, and they're completely different. Not to say I don't value my friendships. I value my friendships a lot. There's a lot of things I would not sacrifice, and it's my friendships. Even if it meant that I would have a relationship, like a serious romantic relationship, I would not sacrifice the friends I have now for that ever in my entire life, even if I have to die alone for it. That's honesty. But even if I was around my friends all day, every day, whatever, there would still be a part of me that doesn't get to see the light of day because that's reserved for special people. And when you have no special person, there's just a part of you that's locked away that you'd never get to show to anyone. And that's how I've been pretty much my whole life. You know, I've always been the person people go to when they need to talk. Always been the person who's there to help when they have problems, but nobody's willing to do the same. Like I want to find somebody, and we could just, it doesn't matter what we do, it doesn't matter where we are, it's just us being together is enough, and that just is hard to find. Because the internet has fooled people into thinking that there's more options than there really is. Like, you open up Instagram, you open up TikTok, you open up whatever, and the first thing you see is 10 hot people or whatever. You're gonna be fooled into this illusion that they're all out there, when really that's just like the top percentage of people. So everyone thinks they have better options and that they can do better, and that's really not the case. I mean, maybe you can do better than what you have right now, but that really shouldn't be your mindset. Your mindset shouldn't be, I can get a better person than you that's got more money, that's more handsome or whatever. It should be about the feelings you have. And when all that other stuff is what's taking up space in your brain, you're not thinking about love or feelings or anything at all. You're trying to get something out of someone. You're treating them as if they're an item. And that goes both ways. Men and women do that, and I hate it when I see it both times. Men are more than wallets, women are more than sex, and a lot of people aren't willing to accept that fact. And we're different. Men and women are different, but very similar. We do different things, but we do the same things. You know, everybody eats, everybody drinks, everybody sleeps. You know, that the only things that make us different is the gender, and what we like, and what we don't like. You know, if you judge everything based purely on attractiveness, you look past a lot of things. And a good example of that is acquired taste. Acquired taste, like, nobody's born enjoying black coffee. I believe that. No one likes black licorice. No one likes a lot of things. It's an acquired taste. No one likes working out unless you're a psychopath. It's something that you grow to enjoy over time. And if it wasn't for that being a fact that happens, you know, acquired tastes are real, and that you can grow to like things you don't like. Without that aspect of liking things even with imperfection, you're trying to live a life that has no imperfection and is just everything you want. And once you stop having everything you want, you start doing the opposite. You're not really living at all. Because, like, regardless of what goes on, there's going to be things you don't like, mistakes, all sorts of shit like that, right? And if we're all, like, having this perfected image of the world in our mind that's going to happen for us, oh, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to have 8 Lamborghinis, and I'm going to have the most sexy woman in the United States, whatever. That shit's not happening, dude. And that rarely happens for anyone. What makes you so special? I'm not saying don't chase your dreams. I'm actually a big promoter of chasing your dreams and having the confidence to do so. But it all comes down to, like, why do we treat people like they're a means to an end, and like using them as stepping stones instead of trying for them? I've noticed when I do things for other people, I do them way better than if I do them for myself. But that could just be me. Well, I guess that's all I got today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe got something good from it. You know, like I said in my other videos, this is just for me to talk about stuff that I don't really talk about a lot. Like if you liked the video, dislike if you disliked the video, leave a comment if you want to. And have a good night, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good year, good month, whatever, you know. See you later.